I said, George, you would have yours with white wine, and Jay would have his with red wine.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
This is an Impossible Burger meat.
Impossible Burger?
Oh,
That's impossible.
Exciting.
yay,
I think
Impossible
that's
Burger.
that's
So
on
Jay's sauce
I had one
and an
of those.
Impossible Burger.
I love them.
it's incredible how good it is.
It cuts different. Even just cutting it
It's
feels a little
soft.
bit different.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a texture.
It's
Total texture
incredible
Friable.
how much it tastes like meat and how good it is. Ian, what did you think of the Impossible Burger meatballs that we made?
I only had a little bit thus far. It's good.
Wow, thanks.
Wow, Ian, don't hold
there
back.
is that-
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Look, here's the first part. The taste up front, you know, when it touches the tongue, it just like there's an umami flavor that I really enjoyed. And then as it goes further down the throat, there's like a brightness to the tomato sauce that wasn't on it at all. So I don't know why I'm talking about it like this. But then there's the rich, you know how like the vegetable rich. I'm done.
No.
I have to say the Impossible Burger meatballs are terrible.
You
To
think
me.
they're terrible?
Really?
That one I just ate, I thought,
Oh wow.
if you gave to me that as a meatball,
I wouldn't say terrible. I mean, it's.
I mean, it may not be terrible as food.
No, it
it's
wasn't.
terrible as a meatball. It's not
I
a
wonder
meatball.
coming off the first two.
Interesting.
I think compared to if I just had that cold, like just coming in without having anything previous, there is a little bit of a veggie burger
Yeah.
thingy kind of going. Yeah,
It's the potato starch.
But
I guess, yeah, a little bit of that vegetable.
That's what you're
thing.
tasting.
But boy,
Yeah, it's
I
the
don't think
potato
I would
starch.
say, oh, that's for sure.
it has a great
Impossible.
flavor. I mean, when you're thinking that you're
I would never confuse it for a meatball.
not eating meat, guys. That's not
Right.
meat.
I know.
It's plant, and it tastes very much like a meat. I've had meatballs that were 1,000 times worse in a restaurant.
Oh,
Real
yeah.
meatballs in a restaurant. This actually,
No, it's fine.
the meat work.
No
the
problem.
But
Impossible meat
from
works.
my perspective, I mean, I can't say which one's better. They're just different. But and this is just I think a totally subjective thing. Jay's sauce and meatballs to me taste homemade. This is, if I eat this, I would think this came from a restaurant.
Yeah.
This is what a restaurant meatball
Sure,
and sauce tastes
sure.
like to me.
Yeah, my father made a similar sauce to this.
Yeah.
So it reminds me of that. George, your meatballs.
No, I'm Ukrainian, so you know that's where we're coming from.
Yeah.
Your meatballs will go very well on a sandwich. I could absolutely eat that
a
as a,
meatball sub
as a
with those?
meatball sandwich.
All right.
No doubt about it. Whereas Jay's,
And
I
how,
am enjoying
Evan?
it more as a dinner. As a dinner.
Evan, how would you eat the Impossible meatballs?
How would I eat them?
Yeah.
You know, however they were served to me. I mean, I don't
like
know.
them?
You mean as far as a context, like would I rather have it as a part of a sandwich or a dinner plate?
Yeah, like what would be the best way that you would want to eat Impossible meat?
Well, I am enjoying it, knowing what it is. The consistency doesn't quite hold up as well as I think the beef does. It seems to fall apart a little bit easier. There's a little less stability to it. So
Yeah,
in
and
that,
that's because of the fat content. And
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
interesting because the problem is that it's like you wouldn't cook a chicken meatball the exact same way you would cook a beef meatball.
Correct.
And you wouldn't cook 80% beef the same way you would cook 95% beef. Yet we so often expect fake meat to just sub right in. But we, of course, have to adjust our recipes for it.
I mean,
I can't suspend my beef. No.
Is it beef?
I find the problem with Impossible
Good
meat is
input.
that it's made for burger placement. It's not made for Italian food. It doesn't taste
Yeah,
good
it's
in
made
bolaise.
it's made to replace a burger.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
I
just
so I
burger
think as
flavor.
part of a sandwich, it would probably
It's
be
not
better.
Italian yet.
I mean, when I go out to get a burger like from Burger King, which I don't do it that often, but when I go, I get an Impossible Burger. Don't miss it, notice it at all. It's amazing. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on that ketchup,
Yeah,
lettuce,
and
pickles. But it's fine. It's great. I just had one and it's delicious.
I
Yeah,
can
one-
taste the difference, but I actually like it better.
I was really surprised at how much I didn't like the Beyond Burger. I really didn't like the Beyond
I
Burger.
really don't like Beyond either.
Oh yeah,
I
that was
only
way
like Impossible.
noticeable. Too
So
noticeable.
I'm
Yeah.
comparing it to that, like this, the Impossible meatball that I made. And look, and I adore meatballs. I like it. I think the flavor is rich. It has umami all over it. The texture is very good. It's just not as dense. That's it. Just if it was a little more dense, or if I could figure out a way to make it cook more dense, it would even
Yeah,
be
I
better.
think you have to sear it up more. Like get a nice crispy sear on it helps a lot. And yeah, you may need to add some sources of fat.
Well,
Maybe
I
to
did.
add ghee.
Cheese.
I did.
Or
I did
oil
sear
to
them
it.
very good. And that might be the reason why I like it even more than the other stuff. The other stuff. You know what's funny about the Beyond Burger? when I pulled the quote unquote meat out of the package, it smelled really weird. The way that they deal with their soy, it had a really off smell to it, and I know it wasn't. There was nothing wrong with it. That's the way it
Is it a
smelled.
preservative that's in there?
No, it's the soy.
It's the soy.
I'm almost 100% sure
That's
that
true of a lot of like soy burgers and stuff too. You pull it out and you're like,
Smells
oh
like
boy,
that.
it's
So I-
fine.
Yeah.
The thing about Impossible Meat, and for anybody who hasn't done the research on this, the reason that Impossible Burger is in a game of itself is because it has leg hemoglobin in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so leg hemoglobin is the plant source version of hemoglobin, which is the exact same molecule that's in our blood, and it gives it that bloody taste. That's why
Bloody as a
Impossible.
Heme, right?
Yeah, that's why Impossible Burger looks red. It's not beet juice. It's not dye. It's
No.
leg hemoglobin that they actually take from soy. Or they originally took it from soy. And when they realized they couldn't get the right, the amounts that they needed, they actually started to grow GM yeast in order to produce enough. And so that leg hemoglobin, and I've been to the factory and they gave me pure leg hemoglobin and had me taste it, and I felt like a vampire. I literally, guys, it was the weirdest experience. I did this for a TV show, and my camera guy, everybody around tasted it too. And the camera guy put it in his mouth, and he goes, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Like, am I a vampire? Why am I going to pass out? And I was like, when do you taste blood in your mouth? And he was like, when I'm injured. And I was like, yeah, that's why you feel woozy.
Yeah. Right.
But it had the metallic kind of thing too. Like it was like really tasted like it.
It's hard. Sorry. Because we're on the stream separately, we can hear everything Courtney's saying to our next guest, and so I'm trying to talk through like multiple people, so I couldn't
Gotcha.
hear everything you said.
I just did that metallic sort of blood taste come through as well. Like it really.
Legit, yeah,
Wow.
like pennies in your mouth, but
Yeah.
it tastes like your own blood. And so you imagine that added to the potato starch and all the other sources of protein in there, and the starches that give it that fatty, proteiny consistency. And yeah, add the blood to it right there. But it's not blood; it's plant blood.
Wow.